Been together so long we can't pretend. Remember the way we used to move, dance all night like young lovers do. Your heart is changing. Now we don't dance like we used to. Silent disco on the floor, baby. Mr. DJ, he'll get me through. When the beat's gone, you can't save me, baby.
This is Broad Radio. For you, by you. Broad Radio. Here for more.
Oh, it's Broad Radio time. I'm so excited to be here on this Tuesday. My name's Jo Stanley, and here is Nelly Thomas, my co-host today.
Hello, Joe. Hello, listeners and viewers.
It's so delightful to see you.
It's lovely to be out.
Oh, isn't it? While you can.
In person. It's so much nicer in person, isn't
I
it?
know. I love seeing your beautiful face with your perfectly
stop it.
applied lipstick.
Look, I
mean,
did put on a bit of red lip this morning.
But it's so well applied.
Is it?
Yes.
I think it's just genetic luck. I've just got those lips. You know what I mean? Like you can just whack it on.
I used to have that, and then I got old.
Oh,
and
stop
then
it.
your lips disappear. There's no line between my lip and my forehead
I
anymore.
think you and I are about the same age.
Yeah, but I'm not genetically blessed when it
Right.
comes to the lippage.
Okay.
Hey, let's start the day by shouting out to some women that we just have adored.
Yes.
In the last week, or in fact the last year, I'm going to name Grace Tame, who
Oh.
today is the last day for her to be Australian of the Year.
Amazing.
I was just saying with someone the other day, what an incredible thing she did with that particular, isn't it, award? Whatever
Yes.
when you give them
Honour.
this honour,
Yes.
she just went, I am going to run with
She
that and
just
change
changed.
Australia forever.
And you know, when we talk, particularly, I mean, this is depressing, but particularly in eulogies, we always talk about how, you know, everyone's one of a kind and all that sort of, and you sort of think, not really. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got to say that.
At least three of a kind.
You
most
know,
of- most
but
of us.
she, I mean, that woman has changed the world.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
So Grace Tame, I'm loving the netballers,
Yep.
the Australian Diamonds who won the Quad Series overseas, the women cricketers
Yeah.
are winning the Ashes at the moment.
Well, I'm going tennis. I'm going, obviously, Ash Barty is just such a superstar. And I mean, I hate the word role model, but you can't not see her as a beautiful, beautiful role model and just a great human. But also, I wanted to shout out to Jelena Dokic,
Yes.
who, for a range of reasons, for a start, she's just such a fabulous commentator. I love watching the tennis and listening to her. But also, just as so often happens to women in the public eye, the discussions and the crap that she's endured this week about her appearance, about her weight, about completely irrelevant things. These are things that women in the public eye endure on top of the normal pressures of being in the public eye. And I just wanted to say that I think she's amazing and I don't care what size she is.
Oh, she's a brilliant commentator, as you say.
Absolutely.
Was an extraordinary tennis player despite a very abusive relationship with her father. Horrific things that she was going through behind the scenes. None of us knew. And this week, I don't know if you saw the interview with Alizé Cornet, the French tennis player. It was beautiful. The two of them had this moment where just that mutual respect, and as Jelena said, women supporting women. Just
absolutely
gorgeous.
beautiful. And just the idea, even though they're competitors or, you know, previously competitors, of kind of going, there's a level at which we're all in this together.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah. And then my favourite women, actually, I must say,
you
for
love
today.
this,
I
Jo.
love this
She's
so
mad for it.
much. The 20 mothers who go to a sporting field, this is in Boston, every week, and they just scream into
Yeah.
the abyss.
Yeah.
I
They just let it out. They just howl at the moon.
They do. They bellow.
Yeah.
And the most beautiful thing is that they have actually some structure to it. They have 5 goes at it. The first 4 are normal scream, right? Free for all screaming and shouting. And then they do a scream in honour of the mothers who are too busy to attend.
Oh, bless.
Oh, my gosh. So consider Broad Radio today. We are bellowing on your behalf.
I love it. I mean, when I hear about things like, remember laughing yoga was a big
Yes.
thing for a while, and I thought, nah, I can't. I don't know if it's a comedian thing. I can't go and be forced to laugh. But I tell you what, I could scream in a field.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we've all screamed into a linen cupboard.
That's right. Let out some rage. Let it out. Let the anger out.
Yes.
Feel the anger.
Yeah. I've had my daughter say, Mummy, what are you doing in the wardrobe? Nothing.
Why have you soundproofed your walk-in wardrobe, Mum? I'm recording in there. Shh.
Just letting it all out. Anyway, we've got an awesome show for you today. Kerri Sackville is going to be joining us to tell us why is Wordle such a massive phenomenon. I'm not into it yet.
I was going to say you're not onto it.
Not yet.
Okay.
But who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
People seem to be really loving it. And the incredible world-renowned author and activist Van Badham is joining us to tell us all about her latest book, QAnon and On, which is... QAnon is a terrifying phenomenon in itself. And we've got the best and worst of the internet today. Really,
Yeah, that's right. We have. We've got the pleasure and the pain.
Yeah. And you're going to tell us about... I don't
No,
mean to
I'm
laugh.
not, Jo.
I don't mean to
No,
laugh.
I'm not.
But you're going to share with us your journey with sleep apnea.
No, I'm not.
The CPAP machine. You are.
I'm going to have a nap.
You're going to... Oh, good luck to you. And that's all coming up after this. Broad Radio is proudly supported by Chemist Warehouse. Chemist Warehouse, great savings every day. Welcome to you if you are joining us live, and we want to say hello to Michelle Redfern. She has already messaged on our Facebook. Please do if you are watching, and share comments and questions along the way. Michelle shares diversity plus equity plus inclusion. Hooray, my first live for the year. Thanks,
Yay.
Michelle. We love having you. If you want to catch up on anything that has happened on Broad Radio previously, you can always do that with our podcast, Broad Radio on the Go, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you are watching on any of our socials right now, please do chuck us a like or a follow or subscribe. Or
We're
whatever.
desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know that you're there in the ether.
Sadly, we live in a world where that sort of stuff matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen the photos.
Oh,
Nelly.
I hope you're not mocking me, Joe Stanley.
I am not mocking you. I have deep compassion for people with sleep apnea.
Yeah.
My daughter was born with sleep apnea,
Yes.
so I know that it is actually a thing and an
No, it
extreme
really
thing. But
is.
the photos you've shared,
I'll look
I
good.
mean, love.
It's good being a single 48-year-old woman, having to wear that at night. I thought to myself, if I ever do have a guest over,
What would you do?
what am I going to say? How do I introduce that? Or do I just have a bad night's sleep? You know what I mean? Do you just shove that in the drawer with all the other unmentionables?
So share with us the journey. You've just discovered you have sleep apnea.
Yeah, well, I haven't slept since, the mid-'80s. And I thought that's just how I'm built. I
Yes.
don't come from a good line of sleepers. We're not good sleepers. My children weren't good sleepers. My eldest daughter didn't sleep through the night till she was 4.
Oof.
And she still, in fact, is 14 and doesn't always sleep through the night. So we're not good sleepers. So I just thought that was normal. And then someone suggested to me that I get a sleep test. I don't know if you've got that photo. Oh, you have. There you go. So I went along to a sleep specialist, and you used to have to do this in hospital.
Yes.
Now, which was ridiculous, driving along Bell Street, driving home hooked up like that. You're hooked up, you see the thing on your chest, you've got nodes on the head, down the legs, on the heart, the whole thing.
You didn't go through the Bell Street Macca's drive-through like that?
Look, I was tempted to go through Red Rooster, right, just to see what they'd say. But I ran inside. I was like, what if my neighbours see me? The whole thing. But it turns out I get up at sort of 5 or 6, 7 sometimes in a night. I thought I just had a weak bladder, whereas the sleep specialist said to me, no, you're waking yourself up and then you think you need to go to the toilet. It's the other way around. So I think you're meant to have something like under 5 minor disturbances every hour when you sleep, and I was having up to 40. So no wonder I was tired all the time. I just thought it was life.
Yes,
You
yeah.
know, life's hard sometimes.
Yeah, and is it related to, because it's about that's oxygen, you're not inhaling oxygen and you're not dispelling carbon dioxide as well.
Yes.
So
the
is
wa-
it about I don't know, shape of your face, or what do they do?
So
Is it
I
age?
think
Oh my God.
yeah, I reckon it. Well, it's a range of things. Like I said, I haven't slept well since I was a teenager, so I don't know, if there's a genetic component. To be honest, I just wanted them to fix it.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
he basically said what happens in the night if you've got sleep apnea is your throat's sort of collapsing.
Yeah.
So your body's waking yourself up because it literally thinks it's dying. So you're, particularly if you snore a lot, and if you have that kind of snoring where you, that kind of snoring, then there's a good chance you've got sleep apnea and your body's going, oh, don't die. So it wakes you up. So you never get into that deep sleep.
So now your best friend is this machine that you
Now
sleep
I've got
with.
the little machine, and I wake up in the morning and I see how many times I've woken up because it records everything. So I've done... How many nights have I done? I've probably done about 5 nights with the machine. I'm trying different attachments.
That sounds really sexy.
No.
But not at all.
There's little nasal ones. There's one over here. There's one over the whole face. I'm doing the whole thing. And I've definitely noticed I spent one night without it. I don't know why. I just thought I'd try a night without it. And I was much tighter the next day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, look, watch this space, but I could be, but my lovely sleep specialist, he's got a very strong Irish accent, Fergal, his name is, he said, Nelly, this could change your life.
Well, imagine if it was holding you back.
Well,
I mean, you've already achieved so much in your life,
Oh.
but now, Nelly,
imagine my next 48 years.
you with full night's sleep every night.
Look, in all seriousness, I will say, and he talked to me about this, the effect on mental health.
Yes.
Of not sleeping, let alone physical health. There's a whole range of things. So we'll see. I'll come back in a year and tell you how it's going.
Well, I think it's extraordinary, and I really do hope that you take someone home at some point.
Yeah.
And say, that was an enjoyable, tete-a-tete.
I'll just have to direct them to my socials and go, look, this is the morning vision.
It means
right?
you can't sleep over someone else's house, though.
No, that's true, although I can't do that anyway because I've got dogs and kids.
Oh, fair enough.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, what's the chances of me being able to, get out on the town? But, you're still going through this thought process. I can imagine.
You
But
don't want to be
a friend of
lonely
mine
your whole
said,
life
you just
'cause
need to find someone else who's got sleep apnea. How depressing. What a depressing thought.
I love it that you could probably
What
get,
machine have you got?
a
Get a
2-for-1.
double. Get a double attachments. Oh, my Lord.
I think that's very romantic, and surely that's how we age,
You
isn't
really
it?
do not think that's romantic.
I do. Well, I'm looking at my husband. I've been with him for 20-something years, and as we get older, I'm imagining that we'll both just hook into whatever machine will keep us alive and just get past that.
Airflow is important
It
for a
is.
range of functions.
Yes, that's right. We'll all be incontinent and dying of sleep apnea. That's how we'll age together.
And I
won't
will
we?
say to this particular demographic, if you are tired all the time, it's possibly middle age, but it could also be that you need a sleep test.
I love
I mean,
it.
I didn't know.
Go and do it.
Do it.
Yeah. Thanks again to Tracy who's joining us. Good morning. First time listener.
Oh, yay. At
She's-
Perth Airport.
Oh my gosh, I love that she's at the Perth airport, although I do hope that you are feeling okay. I haven't flown yet.
No, I haven't either. I'm too nervous.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, although being in Perth, I'm actually from Perth, Tracy, by the way, but being in Perth, if you're coming from Perth, you're all right.
Yes, it's true.
What are the they got about, 6 cases?
She's heading to work though, so if you're heading
Oh, she might
to
be FIFO.
the rest of Australia, I hope that you stay safe. And good morning to Donna, who is one of our regulars. We love you, Donna
Yeah.
Stotzenberg. You're amazing, but she has
Oh,
a migraine today,
migraine.
so we're thinking of you. And Eche, we found out how to say your name. It's Eche. Thank you for telling us. And she says, or it's bloody menopause.
Well, that's also
There's
true.
so much going
There's
on.
so many things that affect your sleep. That's true. But if you can get a little gain from having the, air pumped on, that was rude, having the air pumped up your nose, then get the gain.
Yeah, I'm supporting that, absolutely. And that's just embracing your health.
Yeah, absolutely. Just taking notice.
Because you deserve it.
I do deserve it. I haven't been to the dentist in 2 years, but I deserve it.
Yeah. I think it's time to welcome our first guest. She's going to be joining us just after this. Amazing, world-renowned author, Van Badham, and activist. And she's got a new book out all about QAnon and On, which you must read. We're going to deep dive into that after this. Now, Nelly, I'm sure I'm not alone when I admit that I've heard of QAnon, but I don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
I know that it's related to conspiracy theories. Sometimes I think that's where the anti-vax movement comes from as well in the whole pandemic scenario. But again, I've kind of guessed.
Yes.
Really.
Yes.
And in a way, put my head in the sand a little.
Yeah. Well, I think over the last couple of years, a lot of us have put our head in the sand because, you know, we were drowning in it. You know what I mean? So you sort of hear these things like QAnon and think, oh, I don't know if I can engage with that.
Yeah.
I feel like I know a lot more about it now.
Well, most definitely, because I read this incredible book by the amazing Badham. It's called QAnon and On. I can't even say it is a brilliant book, and it's so well researched. It's all about internet conspiracy cults, and the author joins us now, Badham. And you're very real life right now because you're joining us from a car. I love it.
Yeah, I'm actually recording the audiobook of QAnon and On in Melbourne today, and of course I live in regional Australia, so we've made the journey up in the car. So live from the Mazda, it's me.
Are you sure, or are you in fact in a bunker under the White House? Because how would we know?
Let me tell you, it's definitely a Mazda, but you wouldn't know. I mean, most of the things that you'll encounter on the internet, particularly on social media, and specifically in the spaces where QAnon people hang out, you wouldn't know what was real and what wasn't. I mean, we're dealing with a propaganda operation that is absolutely infinite at the moment.
So, Van, my first question is, because someone asked me this the other day, I was raving about your book, and they've gone, what is QAnon? And so I ask you, what is QAnon? Because I'm not even sure if that is an answerable question.
Oh, I can answer this question having written the book. So QAnon is what we call an internet conspiracy cult. And it has a guru, which is an internet prophet called Q, who started posting on a website called 4chan these sort of strange coded messages claiming that they were a secret agent with all of these government secrets to spill at the end of 2017. And these posts appeared from this Q person, and these adherents started to gather around these posts going, oh, look, there could be something to this. The posts play to really old myths about secret societies and an evil cabal of Satan worshipping child eaters who snatch children in the night and torture them and drain their blood. And these are really old sort of urban myths that have been hanging around Western society for 2,500 years. But people gravitate towards them, particularly when they're in distress. So you have a movement of these people who started following these Q posts and interpreting them and forming little communities to interpret these sort of clues that were left by this so-called secret agent, and forming friendships and relationships, and then mobilizing on the streets around issues that they interpreted as being relevant to what Q was saying. So it has like a quasi-religious element, but ultimately it's a conspiracy theory with a cult infrastructure around it.
So Van, the central tenets, I mean, it sounds Brothers Grimm kind of, you know, children getting snatched, blood being drank, all that sort of stuff. But what are the fundamental beliefs of QAnon? Do we say followers, worshippers, subscribers? Like, what do they think?
Adherents. Or acolytes. They fundamentally believe that there is a secret society of elite pedophiles that are drawn from Hollywood and basically any kind of celebrity, politicians. The Pope is apparently in on it. Hillary Clinton is basically the most evil person in the universe, according to QAnon people. And this secret society, and they legitimately believe this is what they believe. They believe that this secret society runs this massive international operation through the auspices of various governments that snatches children in the middle of the night and imprisons them. Well, not necessarily during the middle of the night, could be during the day, to be fair, and stashes them in tunnels underground where they ritually abuse these children and do unspeakable things to them to drain their blood And the theory goes that the blood of tortured children contains a chemical called adrenochrome, which is a real chemical which exists in the human body, which is produced as like a byproduct of adrenaline. But in the QAnon mythos, this blood product is drained from the bodies of children, and then these elites consume it, and it gives them special powers like enhanced virility, and it keeps them young. So their argument is like, why do all these celebrities look so young? And it's like, can I introduce you to a concept called plastic surgery?
And Botox.
Slightly easier to manage. But QAnon people believe that there are 300,000 children living in tunnels under the streets of Melbourne.
So they're like dementors, basically. This idea that there are, the celebrities are dementors, just like sucking the life out of children to prolong their beauty and youth.
Yeah, well, in fact, harvesting the screams of children, as a New Zealand newspaper worked out, is the plot of Monsters, Inc. And this idea that...
Oh, it is too.
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that, but they believe this, and they believe in this whole infrastructure. They use the term the deep state, and the deep state are the public servants and cops and military personnel who obey the pedophile cabal, and that they're the ones who run all of these logistics. And I'm like, seriously, whoever is managing to hide 300,000 children under the streets of Melbourne, this person really should be put in charge of the coronavirus response.
Yes,
I mean, their supply and transport management skills are extraordinary. It's really disturbing. Like, it is really, really disturbing that people believe this stuff. But they live in a...
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Van. I find it unfathomable that people believe it, and it is disturbing. But so I'm assuming Q is a person, right? Or an organisation that sort of some kind of, I don't know, whoever it is that started it. But are they doing it to try and control the masses deliberately? So they don't actually believe the story themselves, but they've just sort of set it up as a way of kind of manipulating, vulnerable people.
Well, we don't know who Q is, or Q presumably could be any number of people. But what Q represents is a capacity of the internet to create these communities that are fed constant streams of propaganda. So whoever Q is, I mean, I read all of the Q posts when I was researching the book, which I've got to say are hours of my life I will never get back. And they're pretty ridiculous. I mean, they're ridiculous. They're nonsensical. And my father was a great fan of spy thrillers of the 70s and 80s. And whoever Q is a fan of the same books. So there are all of these Robert Ludlum references and, Born Identity and stuff like that. And if you're and Hunt for Red October, sort of Tom Clancy kind of stuff, if you're up on that particular genre from that particular period in time, the Q posts take on this hilarious sort of, this man's a true fan kind of thing, although we don't know, what gender Q is or whether it's committee or the rest of it. But it's this sort of crazy gobbledygook, but people get really into it. And these communities that have formed now are so credulous because they've sort of drunk their Q Kool-Aid that there are a number of manipulators who know that they can get those people to do anything. And because this is the thing, if you genuinely believe there are 300,000 children being tortured under the streets of Melbourne, a city where if there's a new taco truck, everybody knows about it in 10 minutes. Like, if you can convince yourself to believe that, you can be convinced to believe anything. And this is why you get these communities of people who think, 5G towers and Bill Gates are trying to put microchips in your brain with the vaccine and the rest of it. And if you're a bad faith political actor, there aren't very sophisticated buttons to press to sort of deploy those people in various directions. And this, of course, is what's been happening. This is what happened on the January 6th riot in the Capitol in the United States last year. There were lots of QAnon believers who were there. They were wearing all the paraphernalia.
Van, I mean, so many questions. But my first question is, there are genuinely terrifying conspiracies that are actually happening. I was saying to Joe before, I watched the Snowden movie yesterday, the Edward Snowden revelations. The things that are revealed by whistleblowers are genuinely disturbing, the things that the governments are doing. Why don't QAnon adherents care about those things?
Because those things are difficult and complex, and in many ways they're responsible for them. So you look at something like in the United States, you had the Trump administration and the separation of children at the borders. Like, it was an absolute human rights disaster. And the thing about, I don't really invest in the language of government conspiracy, because generally the worst things that happen in the world happen in plain sight, and they happen because in the United States people vote for them. So Trump was elected on a platform to essentially do whatever he wanted with a nice racist tinge. And you had this situation at the border where children were taken from their parents. They're still reuniting those children and trying to find their families. And that was done in plain sight. If you're a QAnon person, and part of the appeal of it, like going to the psychology of conspiracy theory belief in the book.
Oh no. Someone's taken her internet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, she's back. Sorry, we lost you for a second.
Well, the thing is, the world is complicated, and the answers are not black and white, and they're not simple. In democracies, in particular, policy decisions are about trade-offs. Like, if you want to protect a forest, that might mean putting a community of timber workers out of jobs. Like, we constantly evaluate and reevaluate as democratic communities, what's best for the majority, what we think is going to be the greatest net gain. I mean, they're difficult questions. Conspiracy theories just go, these guys are good, these guys are bad. If you do this, you're a good person. If you do that, you're a bad person. So it's this really sort of polarized way of thinking, where if you're one of these QAnon adherents on the internet sharing all the propaganda, you can essentially just claim that you're a good person, that you are a digital warrior and keyboard hero. Whereas real life and real political situations are infinitely more complex. A really good example is Tim Stewart, who became famous in Australia for being a QAnon adherent who's best friends with the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison. Photos of them, they go to Sharks games together, drink beer, we're at one another's weddings. And Scott Morrison came under enormous amounts of criticism, going, why are you friends with this person who's part of an extremist movement? And that's a pretty legitimate political question. But the other question is, for that guy, for Tim Stewart, like, if you're so interested in politics that you think there are children in tunnels and all these terrible things are happening, like, why wouldn't you use your influence on the Prime Minister to do something about it? And it's because then you get into the realm of real politics and complicated decisions, and it's much easier to just sit on the internet and say, Hillary Clinton, and I've read articles that say this, like, Hillary Clinton is an evil beast creature and witch who consumes the bodies of innocents. Like, there are people who believe that. And it's simple for them. Like, it doesn't involve trade-offs of going, if I vote for Donald Trump, what does that mean in terms of children in cages? What's my complicity there? And that's one of the things that I tease out in the book.
And just one thing, Van, it's interesting, I think, because reality, especially in terms of incompetence and politics and all the rest of it, reality is either really boring or too complex. And a conspiracy theory cuts through both of those, doesn't it? Because it's fascinating and interesting and black and white.
Oh, absolutely. One of the sociologists who I quote in the book says the problem with the truth, it's usually kind of boring and it doesn't play well on social media. And you can even see in the sort of anti-vax, anti-lockdown, anti-whatever protests in Australia, like, if you're following that, and there's a community of us who do, we all sort of get together and get into these, research these groups and sort of follow them, and we infiltrate their communities and keep an eye on what they're doing. Like, there have been these massive fractures in their leadership structures and their groups and how they organise, because they're, the process of decision making, wherever it is really difficult. It's really easy to just be on the internet. It's really difficult to sort of form groups and make tactical decisions and evaluate strategy. And so you see these guys who get these positions of power and influence and are spokespeople for the group one day, who are, purged and on the receiving end of all this criticism another day. There was a guy in Melbourne who was sort of fashioning himself as, the leader and spokesperson of those anti-lockdown movements, and the community has turned on him because he was arrested and he accepted his bail conditions. So you had, this group of people going, you should have fought the bail conditions, you should have been a renegade, and the rest of it. Because, I mean, real life is difficult. And there's a romance to these conspiracy theories as well that entrances people.
So, Van, it would be easy to react in the way that I had initially reacted, which is this is just a bunch of people who, for whatever reason, have attached themselves to complete madness, and I can dismiss that because it's not actually.
You believe it, and it's funny.
Yeah. It does seem so fantastical that it's almost amusing, and it's not going to affect my life. But actually, the misinformation is harmful to everybody IRL in real life, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's just look at vaccination. I mean, a few decades ago, there would have been no question if a government had turned around to a population and gone, there's an invisible killer virus, it's coming for us, we have a few months to sort this out. Everybody would have gotten vaccinated. There wouldn't have been a protest movement of people complaining about public health restrictions. But the propaganda that's created in these communities and fostered and shared, it's politically very valuable. It's very valuable in the United States, in particular, where you have such a fractured media and political environment that people agglomerate around these sort of tribal identifiers. So anti-vaccination is a really good example. I read a piece yesterday that was saying that the effect of this propaganda on active participants in the Republican Party means that whoever is the presidential nominee in the next federal election in America, whoever the Republicans choose, will probably have to be an anti-vaxxer in order to win enough votes internally to hold that position. The idea that you would put up as your nominee in the most powerful and heavily armed democracy on earth, somebody who didn't support vaccination, is genuinely terrifying. And the consequences of that for public health, for anything, I mean, they're global.
So, Van, I know that people have lost loved ones to these conspiracy cults, because it obviously creates factions in families and friendship groups when you see someone go down this kind of rabbit hole, and you give some really great and beautiful advice to people who might be in this situation with someone that they love.
Well, the whole idea of the book, I mean, I'd been following this stuff for a while because I find it interesting. And as an activist, I had seen these sort of spaces opening up online with this apocalyptic language and this kind of nuttiness, really. And you're right that it is sort of amusing. It's like, who would believe this stuff? Well, unfortunately, around 12% of the population are quite vulnerable to these ideas.
In Australia or America, Van? Or
sort
both?
Of across the West, there's like quite a community of them. I mean,
that's a lot of people.
And like I said, vulnerable to these ideas. Like the actual hardcore of people who believe this is smaller, but that's still a significant number of people. And I mean, the problem with what's been happening in families and communities, people gravitate towards conspiracy thinking when they're in distress, when they feel like they're not in control of their environment. And obviously the invisible killer virus has totally upended society. People have been vulnerable to that kind of distress, and they've been trapped at home with their computers. One of the things I talk about in the book is that information literacy is not something that everybody has. There are people who believe everything they read on the internet because it looks like news, and sophisticated propagandists know how to make things that aren't true look true, and they become vulnerable to that as well. And of course, I started thinking about the book when I was writing articles because I had all these people on social media saying, my brother, my cousin, my wife, my children, they have become involved in this thing and they're spouting this nonsense and I don't know what to do. So I did a lot of research around it, and I interviewed psychologists and various other people who were sort of to get an understanding of why this was happening. And one of the most important things I learned was that you can't solve unreason with reason. Like if somebody has decided that Hillary Clinton is like an arch warlock who's controlling people's minds with children's blood, like you can't really say, but the facts are, like that's not where that person is. And the way to get people out of this is actually a process of re-socialization, to stop talking and to stop arguing and to stop going, but the facts, but the evidence, because that's not where they're at. This is a person who needs to reclaim some sense of, confidence in their environment. And the best way of doing that is to keep contact alive. I always say to people, because people ask me all the time, what do I do? I say, go bowling. Like bowling is one of the best things you can do because it's very social, it's very fun. It means everything in the moment and means nothing in an hour. And it doesn't really facilitate a conversation about lizard people or Hillary Clinton. Like you can't really slip that into conversation in a bowling alley.
Not much
And it's
eye
activities like
contact.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, looking over photos of the past, putting together scrapbooks, the kinds of things that re-establish bonds with people are actually how you help them find a way back. Because one of the tragedies that happen is that people fall into these conspiracy cults and they start, they might start going to these demos, they might start participating in, for example, the incineration of old Parliament House, and being around those kind of radicalising political activities. Well, if everybody who is not like that in their circle, their friends, their colleagues, their family, are like, I'm just not having anything to do with Jane until she stops talking about lizard people, like I'm out, it means that the social connections Jane makes are people who are in that space.
She
and
can't
they
come
become
back.
further and further and further radicalised and harder to get back.
Yeah. So, that's a place of real compassion and understanding and kind of just, I suppose, forgiving your loved one of that particular flaw. I mean, I have friends who tolerate the fact that I'm a Collingwood supporter, and that's not easy for them. So, I guess, there's analogies where you look.
Well, there are with a range of issues, aren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But patience, acceptance and love. But it's a social responsibility. If we think that extremism and radicalisation around propaganda that is dangerous, and apocalyptic language leads to apocalyptic behaviour. And like I said, somebody set Old Parliament House on fire. We are now at a point where we have people desecrating war monuments. We have people who attacking union officers, setting museums on fire. Like, these are actions that we typically associate with a very militant, far-right, neo-fascist movement. And of course, this movement is saturated with neo-fascists because they can see recruits. Because if you can convince people to believe that, children are being snatched, you can convince them to believe that this ethnic minority did it, or this cabal of people did it, and deploy against the traditional targets of the extremist far-right. And it's like, you want to say to people, if there are Nazis at your march, you probably shouldn't be at that march. That's
and we can't let this become
your fellow travellers.
Sorry, Van. I was going to say we can't let this become normalised, which is why I think it's so important. I mean, the book is absolutely beautifully written. Can I say, it's just so wonderfully written and so clear and moving, actually, in parts unexpectedly. But also, we can't just turn a blind eye. This isn't just happening in America. And I must admit, I'll confess, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought, there's a little bit of it here, but not much. And you read it, you go, we've all got to read this.
Yeah, it is really amazing. And your research is incredible. I know that you went undercover as well and in some of these, in these sort of websites. And it's just amazing, Van. Congratulations on the book. And do enlighten yourself. Don't put your head in the sand like I have been doing. QAnon and On is the book by Van Badham, who is brilliant. And we love that you joined us from the Mazda this morning.
And thank you for your work. It must have been really hard.
Thank you for having me and the Mazda on your show. I really appreciate it. And thank you for your kind words about the book. And there's quite a community of people who have responded to the book and are sharing stories about what's been going on in their families. And certainly I recommend people come to my Facebook page and they'll find a lot of people. If you're having this issue with a loved one, there's a lot of people there who are going through the same thing.
Thanks so much, Van.
Thanks, Van.
We'll talk to you again sometime on Broad Radio. It's been awesome to have you. Okay, we'll
Thank you for having me and the car.
We'll have more Broad Radio after this. Wow, what an amazing woman Van Badham is, and the research she did for that book. And I have to say, I'm sorry, we didn't get to the questions that were coming in and comments. Donna has made a comment on Facebook saying that she lost 2 friendships because they 100% believe there are children in tunnels in Melbourne. Lost 2 friendships. And so Michelle has asked the question for Van, how did she stay safe and still stay safe whilst she investigated and researched the book? And you know that she was the target of many trolls.
A lot. I mean, but she has been, how long's Van been writing for The Guardian? A long time, nearly a decade, I think.
Yes.
And she, because of her, as many women in public experience, but particularly if they've got outspoken views, i.e. opinions on anything, I think she's been trolled so mercilessly online and in real life, she's almost used to it, which is not to say it doesn't affect her, but I don't know that she noticed a significant increase?
We did text that question actually to Van because we unfortunately said goodbye to her before we could ask her that question, Michelle. And she says, oh, here we go. I've been trolled so relentlessly on the internet since I started writing for The Guardian in 2013. There you go. That I've made adjustments to my security along the way and I just live like this now. I do keep records of anyone who attacks me just in case something happens and a paper trail is useful. What a way to live, just because you have an opinion. And it's so extraordinarily brilliant at it.
Oh,
you know?
and I think we forget when we hear anyone who does any kind of investigative journalism kind of work, the sacrifices that they're making to their own sense of mental and physical security. It's even more reason to take this work seriously and not just kind of go, it's not relevant to me.
Yes. Yeah. So,
Thanks, Van.
Thanks, Van. What an incredible job you're doing. Before we get to our next guest, who is Kerri Sackville, we just wanted to mention that tomorrow, of course, is the 26th of January, which around the country is known as Australia Day. I don't use that term, Australia Day. It is the 26th of January. And I guess we don't celebrate it here at Broad Radio. We don't consider it a date to celebrate, but we wanted to mention that is our stance, that it is a deeply hurtful date for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and we don't support it as a way of celebrating Australia Day, although we would love there to be a date that we could all celebrate, come together.
Look, I'm rehashing an old joke and I won't do a bit on you, but I used to do a joke about the fact, because I just don't understand why we don't just change the date. Like, I would love to celebrate Australia Day, but why do it on such a hurtful day? And I had a suggestion in this joke, which is 13th of September. Do you know the significance of that date?
Tell me.
It's Warnie's birthday. So I'm like, you wedge the rednecks. Because they love Warnie, like, oh, Warnie! And the rest of us get to move on.
Yes, yeah.
Like, seriously, just change the date. It's a no-brainer.
Change the date, and if you wish to be an ally this year, we highly recommend that you head along to really investigate the Uluru Statement from the Heart, which is a beautiful document, just really calling for a very simple thing, which is, you know, constitutional change. It sounds like a complicated thing, but just for First Nations voice to be protected by the Constitution.
Just to be heard.
To be actually acknowledged as the settlers of this country, not white people. So that's our stance. We thought we'd just share it with you. Meanwhile, have a good 26th of January, whatever you are doing. And in just a moment, Kerri Sackville joins us to talk about Wordle. Here she is, Kerri Sackville. We love you. You're a fantastic writer and we love your columns, and you're here to tell us why on earth the world has gone mad about Wordle. Hello, darling.
Hello. And I love the idea about Warnie's birthday, though I would have probably thrown Kylie Minogue's birthday into the mix as well.
Sure.
Oh, good idea.
Sure. Look, it
So
wouldn't have been
inclusive.
as funny, but yes,
True.
you're right.
I'm not a
right.
comedian. I know. I'm just a fan.
Have you done your Wordle today, Kerri?
I haven't today, actually, but I really look forward to it. I love doing Wordle. I get very excited. I do it with my boyfriend, and when he wins, I get quite cranky, like when he gets a word before me. And when I get it, I like do a happy dance. It's you know, it's not elegant, it's not restrained, but it is really joyous. But as much as I love Wordle, and I, you know, love that everybody loves Wordle, I kind of got a little bit annoyed because I'd log on to Twitter in the morning and there would just be this endless stream of these green and what is it, like a mustard yellow and grey boxes, like one after the other, and no one's liking it. No one cares about anyone else's score. And so I posted something on Twitter saying, guys, you know,
Enough.
Really stop. Like, no one cares about your Wordle score. And I was like,
hammered,
slammed.
Yeah.
Now, I know that Van is dealing with QAnon mad people who are trying to take it down, but there is nothing to compare to angry Wordle fans. Like, I was called a Grinch. I was called a thief of joy.
Oh,
you know, I was the Grinch who stole Wordle.
Can I take a step back, and because I don't play Wordle, so it just
you
appeared in my feed like a virus. and
Yes.
I never sort of jumped on board what it
to
is.
you too.
So no, but can you explain
The
to me
other
what
virus.
it is? Can you explain what? Like I can see words. I figure it's like obviously it's a word puzzle, but how do you play?
It's the shadow pandemic. Like this is the virus that has infected the intellect of this country. Look, it's very clever. It's literally just a guessing game. You have to guess a 5-letter word. It's like, remember Mastermind? So you would guess, I can't remember what, you would guess like a sequence of colours, and Mastermind would tell you whether you'd got the right colour in the right spot or the right colour in the wrong spot. So basically you guess a 5-letter word. It tells you whether each letter you've got in the right spot or not at all, or in the wrong spot. And then you have, I think, 6 goes to choose the word. And it's once a day. So everybody is guessing the same word. Everyone gets very excited about it. How many turns can you take to guess the word? For me, look, I don't mean to boast, but it's usually 3 or 4. Some people, it's as much as 5 or 6.
Listen to her humble brags. I'm doing it with my boyfriend and I get it in 3 or 4. Just so
I
nice.
know.
Look at you go, Kerri. Look, I'm not on the Wordle train because I don't like to learn new things. Like I've had enough of learning new shit. You know what I mean?
Your
like
brain
enough
is
already.
full,
It's
yeah.
full.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
unlike you two cranks, I noticed that was on the Wordle today. I love it. I love seeing my friends post. They're happy with themselves. They're happy as Larry. It's a
I'm happy
wholesome
for
story.
them. I'm happy for them. I don't mind seeing it.
Oh, I'm happy for them.
I just didn't understand why suddenly it was always these people sharing these grids. I also love the
Kerri's furious.
the background to Wordle and how it's a love story. I read, Kerri.
Yeah.
It is, yes. A guy designed it for his partner, which is really lovely. I wouldn't say I'm furious.
I
I'd
would.
say I'm
I just did.
irritated. Well, yes, you did. I'm irritated. Do you remember a while back everybody started posting their cycling maps?
Oh, yeah,
Like
no,
suddenly
that's
you'd log
annoying.
on to social media and you'd see, oh, this is the map I
Yeah.
did around Sydney. This is the journey I took around
Yeah.
Melbourne. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah,
Go on
care
your
factor.
cycling journey. Have fun. I do not care where you went or how long it took or how many kilometres you did. And it's sort of the same.
But Kerri,
You know,
I
like, I'm
post
happy
pictures
for you
of
that-
like fish fingers and mashed potato. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I know that annoys people. Guess what? I don't care.
Yeah.
If you don't want to see my fish fingers, don't look at it.
But is the issue, Kerri, that it's when someone posts any kind of achievement, we as humans can't help but compare ourselves to them.
Yes, definitely. And I really don't like it when people get the word in 2 when I've got it in 3. So I would really like them to please stop. It's just insensitive, you know. Like it's fine to post it if you got it in 5 or 6 because it makes me feel really good. But no, I think it's sort of like the whole like posting your weight loss or posting, you know, endless photos of, I don't know, this lasagna that you made that's just amazing. Like it's nice and we're happy for you that you've had this achievement, but no one actually cares. Right? Just you know, just keep your
But
joy
don't
to yourself and
other
just post
Wordle
about
people
the
care?
nightmares.
Kerri,
Yes,
don't
they
other
do,
Wordle
and
people care? They do
They
care.
do.
They
And that's what I
do.
discovered. They do. Apparently people do like seeing it. It makes them happy. They like looking at how many goes other people took.
Yeah.
And I was well and truly schooled to the point where, you know, it was one thing seeing it in my feed, but then people started actually tweeting their Wordle scores at me.
At you, of
So
course.
I now wake up in the morning and it's not just seeing them in my feed. It's like in my private messages.
Great.
Oh, here's my Wordle.
That'll
so yeah,
teach
I
you.
really did get schooled. Like, and what people were saying, to be fair, is that life is hard at the moment and there's so little joy, and just let us have our joy. So I do understand that, but maybe post puppies instead that we can all enjoy.
Oh, well, but then
or
people,
babies.
let me tell you, people are competitive about their puppies too.
They are.
Like I know.
Is it a rescue?
Well, there's that. Is it a rescue?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody thinks their dog is the best dog in the world, right?
Mine
That's just a
actually
thing.
are,
No, but mine
but
is.
sure.
So, sorry, but it
All
can't
right.
be because
All
mine
right.
is. You see what's happening?
I do. I don't have a dog, so I don't have this. But my cat is amazing.
Oh no! See, my cat though,
And,
Kerri.
and she's a rescue.
Oh well,
There you
okay.
go.
Mine's 18 and still going strong.
Wow.
So
Well, mine has psychological issues, Joe. So you know.
Yeah. Mine's on medication. He actually is.
Oh
Yeah.
God,
Anyway.
you win.
Yeah.
You win.
I did once have a cat on Pussy Prozac.
Yeah. Pussy Prozac. That should be my next book. Pussy Kerri, take it. Take it.
Perfect.
Pussy
Or a
Prozac.
band name. Come and see Pussy Prozac.
Prozac.
And the, I don't know, mental breakdowns.
Yeah. Either that or it's an invitation. If I'm ever single again, perhaps I'll find someone over a bit of Pussy Prozac.
A great Tinder name, Pussy Prozac.
Oh, I'm taking
You'll
it.
be calmed down. Just,
I'm taking it.
Getting to know me.
I am therapy. Hear me
You
roar.
Speaking of books, Kerri, I see that you've got a book heading off to the printers.
I do. I'm so excited. My new book is coming out. Oh, there's the cover. It's so cute. The life-changing magic of a little bit of mess. I just thought we all needed a bit of an antidote to all of the Marie Kondo, let's get decluttering and all the aspirational home influences with their perfect houses and their perfect table settings. I embrace a more relaxed way of being in my home, as you probably knew from the time I had my cupboard doors open and my bras on display while I was doing one of these interviews. So I felt that it was time to share that message with the world and help other people to embrace their mess and just stop trying to be perfect.
Let's not forget though, Kerri, that you, basically created a movement as far as how to hang your bras, right?
Look,
so
I did. I did, and something,
I don't feel like you have a lot of mess there if you're organising your bras in such a way that you've inspired a whole generation of women on Twitter.
Women are now putting their bras on hooks, thanks to me. Who knew?
Did you know this?
And
She
just
hangs
because
her
it's
bras
the
on
lazy,
hooks.
She hangs
it's
her
the
bras
lazy
on
girl's way of
hooks?
doing it. I do the 3M hooks. Yeah, it's just so you don't have to put them in a drawer. It makes it so much easier. It's literally just came out of my incredible laziness and slovenliness. And if I swiveled the camera around, you would see that this is an illusion. And
My first question is, how many pairs of bras do you have that you require hooks?
Oh God, okay, let me do that. There's the sports bras.
Sure.
Oh, there's the lift and separate bras because I've had 3 children. And now, ladies, with perimenopause, there's the sleeping bras because I get so hot at night. I just need to take everything off. And you know what it's like? It gets a bit uncomfortable with the whole
I've been on sleeping bras
happening.
for a long time. Yeah.
Yep, so sleeping bras and very, very special bras that are a bit scratchy and just kind of live in the bottom of the cupboard and no one ever takes them out. They're
Pussy
sort of more
Prozac bras.
ornamental. Exactly. Exactly. And they're all on hooks.
Kerri, does it feel a little like you're about to give birth when your book goes off to the printer?
It's so strange because you sit there at your desk and you tap away and write something and you can't ever really think that it's going to be published because if you do, you'll never actually get anything written. You have to just write something that you would like to read. And then to actually see it come to life is amazing. I really wanted to, with this book, just write something that made me laugh. And I would sit there writing and laughing my ass off. And I think that's what we need at the moment. I think we all just need a laugh. It's been a really tough couple of years. And I just wanted to put something light and joyous into the world that wasn't Wordle.
Well, congratulations, because publishing at the moment's not easy. Let's be honest. So, congratulations to you. When will it be out?
Thank you. It's going to be out in March. So I would
Lovely.
love to talk more about it then.
Oh, yes. We will talk to you about your book and your messy life. Most definitely.
Messy life.
when the book
and
is
my
out.
bras.
And your
We'll
bras.
do a whole section on bras, yeah. We'll get some Broad Radio branded bra hooks because it all was
Like
born
it.
here.
Yeah, love it.
We'll get a fitting. Let's get a fitting live. Remember you used to be able to go to Maya or somewhere and there'd be some lady who would actually fit you properly?
I think they still do that.
Do they? I don't think they do.
Yeah, no, I believe that they do. And I recall being shoved by a very brusque woman who would make you lean over and and they jiggle you around. And I'm just going through my daughter's first foray into bras and I thought, should I get her fitted? And I didn't. But at some point, I guess she's gonna have
do
to
you not
face that.
remember like yourself, the first bra fitting? It's
horrendous.
mortifying. And the woman bursts into the room and you're sort of going there like that because when you're 12 you think that you're God forbid anyone sees your boobs, and then of course by the time you get to this age and half the world has seen your boobs with breastfeeding and giving birth and everything, it's like I could go and get the mail with my boobs hanging out. And in fact probably have once or twice. So
it's true. Hey Kerri, awesome to have you on Broad Radio again. Thank you so much for enlightening me. As far as Wordle is concerned, maybe I'll give it a crack. I'm kind of like Nelly in this regard though, in that I'm tired and busy, so I haven't.
It's only 5 letters. You can do it. I believe in you both.
All right. And when I do, I will send it. I'll send it. I'll send it straight to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody else does.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kerri. You take care. We'll see you on Broad Radio again soon.
Bye.
Bye.
With my respiratory issues, I know I have to quit smoking. And quitting before I'm 40 means I'll live up to 9 years longer. What will your future hold when you quit? Make your next quit attempt at Chemist Warehouse.
Broad Radio. Talking inspo we love, info we need, and sharing more of us. Watch and listen live every Tuesday 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time at broadradio.com.au or find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and LinkedIn at Broad Radio Oz. Talk to us live. Call on 1300 8 Broad. Catch up on demand anytime, anywhere, every time, everywhere. On the train, we'll be here. 2 a.m. existential crisis? We've got you covered. Broad Radio. Here for more.
Nelly, the sleeping bra, it seems, is a revelation to some who are listening at this point.
When I say bra, I mean it's really a crop top. But this is probably, I don't know how to put this, but it's really for the larger breasted lady would be my sense. So I've been wearing crop top to bed since I got boobs, which was overnight. When I was about 15, I went from flat chested to a double D within 6 months. And it's uncomfortable to sleep if you've got big gazungas without some kind of something.
Yes.
Otherwise they're just too much movement.
Sure, I can. Yeah,
You get it?
I'm getting it. Yeah,
But it's not like a wired.
it's not keeping them up like this.
No, it's just sort of gently holding the girls in place.
Because Michelle is saying, "Oh my God, sleeping bra, what? WTF?"
Yeah, gonna get that sucker off.
Get it off as soon as I get it. I don't sleep
Yeah.
in a bra, but I will say that yesterday I was reduced to tears. In fact, I wept in a seamstress's fitting room.
Oh, love.
Because of lingerie, or because of the challenge of trying to work out what to do about
them.
my boobs. This is the background, right? And I'm harking back to my beautiful mothers in Boston who are screaming into the abyss, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going back to the world of events and emceeing, which I love as a part of our world and what we do. It's so great. But of course that puts you right on stage in a formal outfit, right?
Yeah.
And I've been wearing the same dress for 7 years
Yeah.
at every formal occasion, and now I don't fit it, so I've got a new dress.
Yeah.
It's quite sheer. So I thought, no worries, I'll take it to a seamstress and get a lining put in. And she says to me yesterday, you can't really, it's going to ruin the line of the dress. And I wept because I've spent money on the dress. And now what do I do about the fact that this stupid dress, thanks fashion, is sheer, right? And I'm standing there, enraged that if I was a man, I'd put on a tuxedo and go.
Yeah.
But I'm spending money and time on a dress and makeup and hair and shoes and all of that. And now I've got to work out what to do with the boobs.
What to do.
Why don't I know? Why is this not a God-given understanding? I feel like women are supposed to go, oh, I know, get an adhesive cup or get this or get that. And it's just not a natural knowledge for me.
Can you just let them hang out?
On stage,
Yeah.
you'd see my nips.
Right. Well, could you just have a normal bra? And
No,
just
because it's backless.
Oh, it's backless. See, with girls this size, I've never worn anything backless, so I can't help you at all.
Well, I wept publicly. Well, and this beautiful seamstress was she was so patient and kind.
Where else have you wept?
my
Because I've
God.
wept at the dentist. I've wept at school.
Yes.
You know when people get more than they bargain for? Like, how are you, Nelly? You know what? It's got to go somewhere. It's got to go somewhere.
it.
If it happens to be the receptionist at school, which I imagine it often is.
I'm sure that
because
it
I can't
is.
work the bloody app, and then I can't work out how to pay for the uniform. If it has to be, well, that's just part of the job.
And it's never about the thing that you're really
No, of
weeping
course
about.
it's not. It's overwhelm
It's overwhelm and rage.
and rage.
I
and,
was
and
so cross
not
about
being able to scream. Yeah,
That's
fair
it.
enough.
Why am I being forced to do this just to go to work?
Do you want me to just listen, or would you like a solution?
I want a solution.
Just get rid of the dress and buy yourself a new one.
Oh, no, I just bought
just-
a new one. It's a brand new dress. You know what
sell it
my
on eBay.
solution? My solution is going to be at some point I'm going to fork out for a beautifully fitted tuxedo of my own.
Oh.
And that's all I'm going to wear. And every time I work at one of these events, I walk on stage and they'll go, "Oh, I feel like that's the suit you wore last year." And I'll be going, "Yes, suck it up."
I could see you in a beautiful powder blue suit.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Or like a really gorgeous brocade, kind of shiny sort of pattern sort of thing, you know, whatever. I'm just, it's going to be my solution for
Love
it.
it.
But yeah. And meanwhile, just weep publicly.
Just wait, you know, it's better out than in.
Never a truer word was spoken across all
I'm
levels.
offering nothing here.
No, I love it. Nelly, thank you so much as always
My
for
absolute
joining
pleasure.
me. And we will see you again soon.
Let's just go and have a cry together.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. It's been a joy to bellow on your behalf today. And you have a great week. We'll be back with Broad Radio next Tuesday. We'll see you then.
See you, everyone.
Gonna make some